All right, everybody. Welcome back to another recording with me. I am so excited to be here. For those that are watching in the Facebook group or YouTube, you can see me. I'm in my car. So this is as real as it gets. I told y'all we're not playing around. We're here for the deal. We're here to invest in you. We're here to help you grow. And if I have to do that in my freaking pajamas or in my car, maybe not my pajamas, but whatever, you get it.
I heard about that.
Oh my goodness. Well, when we're done, you talk about your hurt. All right, so stop making me laugh. I have to introduce you first. So this is Leti. Leti is one of my amazing friends, mentor, humans that I've had the privilege and an honor to have known over the last couple of years. She is an amazing brain. She is one of the co-owners of Semi-Retired MD, which is a platform for coaching women and actually humans in terms of like real estate and building your portfolio. One of the reasons why I had her here is number one, the ideas for all this started during an event at Tony Robbins that she invited me to. She was like, Latifa, do you want to be my guest? I'm like, no. And then my husband, she like kicked my butt. So be careful what you surround yourself with. They will kick you into greatness. So I went and it was amazing. And so when I was thinking about the people that I want to come speak into you guys' life, it was a no-brainer for multiple reasons, but also because she's part of my story. So welcome, Leti.
I'm so excited to be here. And this is such an important cause, obviously, to help women thrive in the recession. So I'm excited to be able to contribute in any way that I can.
So for those that are listening and don't know you, why should they listen to you? Because their time is valuable. Why should they spend the next 20, 30 minutes listening to this? Who are you? Just brag a little bit about yourself and why they should listen to you.
So hi, everyone. I'm Leti, and I am a hospitalist by training, but have been investing in real estate and started with my husband in 2015. And now we own over 150 units of long-term rentals, short-term rentals. And then in 2018, we started a blog, and we've now built it into a multi-million-dollar business. And I'm CEO. I've got employees of 22 actually now. And so I've learned a lot along the way about investing in real estate, about building businesses. I didn't mention I'd been involved in 2 startups before even our real estate business. So been a lot involved in business as well as my small amount in medicine. And I hope that I have something to contribute in terms of preparing for the recession and earning money during the recession, and also mindset work, because I've spent a lot of my time and money and energy on mindset work over the last few years.
Fantastic. So you have been investing in real estate. You've had experience in startup. You're very much into money and finances and helping really people be equipped to live the life that they want. Let's talk a little bit about the recession. What are you thinking, like, what is a recession in your own words? What are you feeling? Everyone's saying whatever they want to say. Is there a recession or no? But I would be curious to hear your thoughts about that.
I think a recession is a natural part of the cycle that really leads to weeding out of weak businesses. And so obviously there's been some monetary policy over the last few years that have prevented the recession from coming. There's been a lot of pumping of kind of fake money effectively into the economy. And now we're in a situation that I think a lot of this is going to catch up to us. And it has been with inflation and devaluation of a lot of different asset classes. And now that the mortgage rates going up, then, which needs to happen. I think this is very, very, very necessary. There needs to be kind of a cleansing of a lot of businesses and a lot of waste that's kind of built up. And so, as you know, one thing we've heard a number of times now over the last few months is from one of our mentors is that great times create weak people, and hard times, bad times create strong people. And I think that's part of it. It's our time to grow.
You said something that I thought was interesting. You said this is a time that unfortunately weak businesses are going to sort of be forced to leave, right? And what I'm going to challenge people with is when you hear that is, it's funny when life happens, you're like, this is what separates the weak from the strong, right? And if you're feeling like you were weak, you're like, okay, what do I need to be strong? So I want you guys, if you listen, to take that as a challenge, that whatever your business or businesses are, it's not a question of what you think right now, but it's a question of what can you do or what do you need to do to be one of the strong people that actually are able to outlast this.
And I don't know that it's unfortunate either. I actually think it's a good thing because it takes us to a new level. I think Brooke Castillo, I remember her saying that if none of us want challenges, none of us want hard things to happen, but then we just stay the same individual over time. It's only when those challenges and hard things happen that we actually grow. And when we grow, we become stronger and better. And so I actually think it's a good thing to have a recession because it's the opportunity for all of us as humanity to grow and become stronger and to push ourselves to try new things, to think outside the box and not to just stay the same and stay static. So it actually, I think in a lot of ways, is a really great thing. And if you can reframe it as a great thing and it's the time for you to step up and learn and grow and be stronger because of it, then I actually think your whole experience of it could be totally different than a bad thing. And that you don't need to have that fear.
That's a good point, and I agree with you. That's a mindset that I have. And then there are times when I'm like, I really just want to sit down on the couch with a blanket and watch Netflix and do nothing. And I'm like, this is not letting me be great on my Netflix self. But on a more serious note, I 100% agree with you. This is how we get stronger. This is how we become less indulged in self. This is how we become stronger mentally, physically, and also in terms of building. Question for you. What are some things, and this is how I'm asking or phrasing the question for everybody that's been here so far. If you had an amazing favorite sister that you love, and you want to tell her the things that you want her to do, to be prepped, because again, now I have this party in my head that is honestly going to happen. I'm not even joking. Like this party idea came about 2 weeks ago. And it's in 2025. I'm preparing a party. It's going to be for women physicians that are choosing to thrive during this recession. So if you want your sister to be invited to our Nigerian fabulous party, what are some of the things you would want her to do now over the next 3 years in order to join us?
Okay, well, this one I know we're going to be totally aligned on, which was invest in yourself. What is going to cause you to come through this and do really, really well and thrive is to really spend the money on your own brain. And you can do that by investing in mindset work, because I think we're both in agreement. Mindset is a lot of what will determine how successful you are. But you can also go invest in skills. Especially going into a downturn, this is really the opportunity to be able to make a lot of money if you can manage your mind. And if you also have some of the skills and team members to be able to take action. So in real estate, which is, my focus, it's really about building that team, taking the courses, getting the knowledge, staying up on what's going on, reading, and being prepared so that when things happen, when things shift dramatically, because we're not right yet at that point where things dramatically shift, when they dramatically shift, that you're prepared and you have the team in place and you're ready to take action, that you can recognize what a good deal is. And if you don't invest in yourself right now, you're going to be behind the 8 ball, because when things dramatically change, you're not going to have the skills and knowledge to be able to act. Then you're not going to be able to recognize what's a great deal and what should I be buying. So that's my number one: invest in yourself.
So I agree with the investing in the skills and the mindset. I think both of them are going to be important, because you can have the skill set, but if you don't have the mindset to actually use it, if you don't have the mindset to separate the dust from the solid stuff, you're going to have a skill that's not been used. So 100% agree with you with investing in yourself. And in fact, before we started recording this particular episode or this session together, I was talking to you about the things that I'm doing intentionally as well, asking myself, what is not adding value to my life in terms of the things that I've been investing in terms of mindset too? And how am I going to take it to the next level going into this season of what additional mindset support am I going to need, especially as women physicians. I assume we're all our leaders, even if you don't believe that you're a leader. You lead your family, you lead your colleagues, your nurse team, everybody. And ultimately, when you are prepping and you are set up, you are going to be able to use your skill set in order to be able to help those people along with you. So 100% investing in your mindset and skills, but don't assume that what you've been investing in before is what is going to take you through the session. You may need to reassess, declutter, and gather new things, because whenever you're in a battle, right, what got you from point A to point B may not be what gets you to B to C. So I 100% agree with you.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And that was actually going to be one of my next points, which is when things go down, you don't want to be doing what everyone else is doing, because everyone else is just going to be cowering in fear, running and sitting on the couch and eating, watching Netflix and hiding under a blanket, right? And so you have to get comfortable with knowing that you're not going to do what everyone else is doing. And that takes courage, right? Courage is having fear, but doing it anyway. And so just start to think outside the box, start to surround yourself. This is the next one, be around a great community of people who are doing things outside of the box now, because you're going to start to practice that way of thinking, start to, when it's relatively safe out there, you're going to start to see that maybe there are other possibilities that no one else is doing. Start taking those first steps. And as you step outside of the norm, it will become more and more comfortable for you. So when things start crashing down, that you're already starting to think, I'm not just necessarily going to blindly do what everyone else is doing. I'm going to try to do things differently so I can recognize the opportunities and take advantage of them.
I definitely love that as well. I was talking to one of our nurses actually at work, who her husband owns a coffee shop. And I found out recently that about 70% of coffee shops close down within 5 years. And so they do coffee shop and bagels and things like that. And a huge percentage of their income pre-pandemic was corporate. So they would deliver to corporate businesses. And then the pandemic happened. And guess what happened to all of their orders? Zero. And they had to pivot. And so I was asking her how the business has been going. And she said, we did so well during the pandemic. And we're now doing even much better than even at the peak of the pandemic, because they chose to know that what they were doing before wasn't going to cut it, but also they had to figure out, what were people saying? What did people need? People were hiding at home for good reason, right? People were hiding from the bugs, from the virus at home. How can we get it to the house, to them? They solved that problem and their business went up. So 100% agree with you. There is opportunity if you are willing to stay out, and if you're willing to work on your mindset, find the community of people that will hold you up. Because ultimately, we all are human. There are times when I'm going to be scared shitless, right? And I really need to put myself in a community where they're like, that's normal, but let's grab you. You're not allowed to go hide in, and watch Netflix like Letizia wanted to do 5 seconds ago.
Yeah. And we both know the saying, life happens for you, not to you, right? And that's the idea that when these tough, challenging times come, that it's that opportunity to grow and to pivot, and that you might actually end up in a much better position than you could have ever imagined down the road. It's what the challenge, the obstacle in front of you is actually the obstacle is the way, right? That's what's going to take you to that next level that could be 10x better than you could have ever imagined, and also 10x better than the situation if you just stayed comfortable and this recession never happened. So pivoting, being flexible, thinking outside of what everyone else is doing, having that same community that does the same for you and keeps you accountable to be able to do that, and then going out and getting that knowledge that you can then apply to be able to pivot. And then my last one was just kind of release control to some extent too. I think as type A physicians, we are control freaks, right? We want to control everything. And the fact is, the weight that we carry on our shoulders trying to control everything is a pretty heavy weight. This is something that I am more recently learning, or always learning. And so as much as you can kind of just trust, I think this is one of your incredible muscles, is being able to just trust that you're going to do everything you can to make things work out. But sometimes there are other things that are going to help you along the way that maybe you don't initially, like, you can't see why this is happening, but it's happening for a good reason. And it's all going to turn out okay, even in the darkest of times. And so that's that release, that's that surrender. I love Michael Singer. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's got this thing called The Untethered Soul. And he's also got a book called The Surrender Experiment. And I just had an opportunity to listen to him speak to us a couple of weeks ago. Oh, he's amazing. And he said, your energy is blocked up with all the memories and, negative things you've chosen to store in your brain. And every time you feel resistance or discomfort, you should celebrate it, because it's an opportunity to release a blockage that you've been holding on to and allow yourself to have even more energy. And so all these things that are quote unquote negative, that makes us nervous or fearful or resist or discomfort, those things are allowing us to get to release some negative stuff that we've kept onto. And so that's that surrender piece of, can't control everything, do the best you can, but in the long run, it may work out in a way that you could never have imagined and be much more beautiful. So that's my last one.
It's interesting that you mentioned that. I've heard that book before. I haven't read it, but yesterday, I'm actually reminded now as you talk, I was about to take my kids for whatever, trick-or-treating. And I'm not quite sure why the word untethered came to my mind actually yesterday. And it was like, Latifa, just be untethered really in how you're telling women to be part of this, telling women to learn, telling women to grow. You and I talked before the camera went on about some of the things that's going to be happening in my life next year that I'm not out talking about yet. But part of that is learning for me to trust a lot of the things that's happening. And I do 100% think that that's probably the message is next year is we will be untethered, right? And it's going to be important to lean into that. And when you feel the resistance, instead of thinking it's a bad thing, think of it as a muscle, then it's released. Oh yeah, so that's the nut. Like when the work in your back doing all that massage stuff, that's the part that needs to be released. And then, okay, it feels much better. Then you go to the next phase and the next phase. So I do love that you bring, I'm going to add that to my book list to read.
Yeah. Surrender Experiment and The Untethered Soul. He has 2 books, and I just ordered The Untethered Soul like in practice or something. So that's what I'm going to be reading next, and I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. Is there anything else that's come to your mind while we're talking that is not one of the 4 or 3 or whatever number of stuff we shared, but you think is important? And I do think there is actually.
I just want to celebrate everyone who's here listening to this, because what you're doing is you're already starting to learn. You're already investing in yourself. You're doing this for free, but you're investing your time, and the time is the most valuable thing. And so you're already taking a lot of action. So just want you to recognize that, because the fact you're already here means you're going to want to be one of those people that is going to thrive next year. And that is a thought you can choose to believe right now. But also it's a fact that you are here listening to this and learning. So, take that. If you're worried about your future, I would feel much more confident about your future than you are right now, because you're already taking steps to prepare. And that's more than most people are doing. So good job.
Oh, I love that so much. Before I let you run away, one thing I wanted us to talk about briefly is the importance of making decisions. I know you love decisions, and I talk about decisions all the time. And I think if there's one skill that has been the biggest decision maker or biggest difference maker in our wealth building and our journey, it's the importance of making decisions. Yeah. Right now, I don't know what is going to happen over the next 3 years. None of us know. But what I'm realizing and what I want to make sure I emphasize is that those that are going to do well is because they're making a decision. So talk to me about the decision that you're making. And if there's anything you want to share about people that struggle with making decisions, because I think you're awesome at making decisions. What would you like to share about that?
I actually also heard this last week, which is the only wrong decision is no decision. And that is 100% true. And when you choose to avoid a decision, you're actually making a decision too. Do you remember that? So rather than choosing to avoid it, just make the decision. You're not going to know it's the right decision right away. You may never know if it was the right decision, but it doesn't even matter. What matters is that you make a decision and you go and actually implement it and take action, right? Because the people who get stuck in analysis paralysis, they don't move forward. And if you don't move forward, then you can't get anywhere. You're just going to stay in that same place. So you're not going to be able to grow. And so I would say decision making is super, super, super important. You will not be able to have all the certainty that you are making the right decision, but it doesn't matter. Just get all the information you can. And at a certain point, just decide you've got to do it and you're going to go forward, take that first step. And then another decision will come up. And then you got to make another decision. That's all our lives are a series of decisions. But if you don't make decisions, you're not going to move forward and you're not going to end up thriving in this environment. So just decide you're a person that's resourceful, that can make decisions well, decide it ahead of time. And then when you make decisions, make them, move forward, make it happen. And then don't look back and say, oh, did I make the right decision? It doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. You made the decision you made. You did the best as you could at that time. Maybe it ended you up in a place that's not optimal right this second, but it might be the right place you're supposed to be 5 years from now. You'll be able to reflect back and see it was the right place. So it's completely irrelevant. Don't reflect back on it and regret it. Just keep moving forward. And any decision is better than no decision.
Love it. Love it. Where can people find you? If someone wants to find you because they're like, oh my goodness, Letizia, I love her. She's amazing. How can I get more from her brand? Where can they find you?
So we run Semi-Retired MD, which is right there, and have a blog and a podcast called Doctors Building Wealth, and are always teaching people about real estate. So I'm sure you can find me just searching Semi-Retired MD online.
Leti, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us and sharing your wisdom. I appreciate your journey. I appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to inviting you to our party in 2025.
That's right. Thank you so much. And guys, again, just listening to this, you're already on your way. So just keep moving forward.
I love it. I love it. All right. Thanks, everybody. And make sure you share this with all the humans in your life. Let us know what you're taking away from here. The goal is to give to you so that you can give to yourself, build yourself, and give to others. That's what this is about. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.